So when I started doing all of this, changing my life, doing the fitness things, I felt so incredibly lost. I did not know what was true. I didn't know what was not true. I had no idea because everybody keeps telling you different things and say like, hey, try this, it worked, but then try this will make you lose weight. But don't do that, that's dangerous. So like all the information was so counterintuitive. It was so contradictory. I was so confused. I did not know what to believe. Like, why do I feel awful doing all these things? Like, I didn't feel good at all. So, this is something that I wish that I would have seen like 2 years ago. Thing is that all of these diets are efficient. All of them work in their own way. And what you need to do is to see which diet benefits you in the way that you need it. Of course, there's some universal truths that we all know about, so keep those in mind when you're doing all of this. But in general, I just wanted to talk about diets today and how I make diet plans for myself. What all of these diets have in common is that it will always be calories in versus calories out. That is the key thing that will make you lose weight. It doesn't matter what you eat if your only goal is to make the scale go down. You can have McDonald's every day and lose weight. But I feel like there's a lot more aspects that you should take into consideration, not just a scale. In my first videos, I name dropped a few diets that I did. And today I just want to talk a little bit more about those. Let's start off with the GI diet. This is something that I feel like has been implemented into my brain a lot ever since I was a kid. I don't know, maybe it's just a Scandinavian thing. GI stands for Glycemic Index, and it's basically just a measure of how what you eat affects your blood sugar levels. A low GI will have a low impact, while the opposite is true for a high GI. The GI method is to only eat foods that impact your blood glucose as little as possible. Theoretically, this will keep your cravings at bay because your blood sugar and your insulin curve will look like this and not like this. That in turn is healthy for your pancreas and your insulin and all that. And by doing this, you automatically eliminate a lot of junk food. LCHF is low carb, high fat, where you're not trying to eat more than like 50 to 70 grams of carbs every day. You fill in the rest of your calories with proteins and fat instead. For this to make more good than harm, you can't just YOLO. You gotta think about what types of fat you're eating. They suggest that you eat monosaturated fats like coconut oil so you don't clog up your arteries, because YOLOing can really be catastrophical for your blood values. A thing is that I'm pretty sure everybody has seen this picture. It is very oversimplified. Even though fat takes up less space in your stomach than carbs and whatnot, there's different types of hunger mechanics and hormones that operate in your stomach. And one of these is satisfied with fats. Simply counting your calories using an app or a journal is probably the easiest way to lose weight. You just find out what your maintenance is and then you subtract calories from that. Eating clean, I suppose, is generally considered as eating as little refined sugars as possible, no processed foods, and avoiding eating things that have like more than 5 ingredients to it. I'm not talking about like homemade salsa and salsa bought at the store, but you know what I mean. Just to keep things as clean as possible, making things from scratch. One of the big benefits of eating according to a meal plan and meal prepping and stuff is that it will have a very positive effect on habituation. Basically, it's just that you eat less food because it's the same food that you've already had. VCLDs, very low calorie diets. You know those weight loss shakes that guarantee you a weight loss of 25 pounds in 3 weeks? Yep, done that. Something that I really wanted to bring up with this one is the psychological aspect of chewing is so much more than it might sound like. If you have eaten a lot of food all the time for several years, it's gonna be very hard to start dieting if you just start not eating. Cut everything in half and you will lose weight. Yeah, you will, for a little bit. So anyway, weight loss shakes can really help you get rid of that urge to chew on stuff all the time. I can't say stuff. Weight loss shakes can help you get rid of that urge to chew on food all the time. This is exactly what I used it for when I started out. I'm not promoting weight loss shakes or anything at all because they can really do more harm than good. You can't just quit your weight loss shakes and you still haven't learned how to eat to maintain this new weight. And then the 5-2. It's basically intermittent fasting. You eat normally for 5 days and then for 2 days you have fasting days where you eat about 600 to 700 calories or something like that. This way you still get a weekly deficit and you feel like you're not on a diet every single day, I guess. And you get a lot of good other health benefits of fasting as well. So I used this tool a lot when I felt like I wanted to eat the world. I basically just kind of made a promise to myself that today I will stick it through because tomorrow is a normal day and I don't have to feel this way. Keep in mind that all of these things I did within the first 2 months of losing weight. Nobody kind of explained this to me. So I tried everything, like I was my own science project. I feel like I've said this in every video. I literally had like a journal where I would be like, specimen A, week 12, minus 18 pounds using this method. I researched. I sat there and Googled and researched and watched YouTube, read books upon books. I was in med school, so I used that to my advantage as well. Anyway, back to the story. After I tried dieting with the specific guidelines for each of these diets, I kind of felt like I need to mix match my own. What I learned from doing all of this is to take the benefits of each and just use it as a tool. So what I do is that I track my calories subdivided into macros. I go on to a TDEE calculator and I base my numbers off of that number. I don't, however, do the traditional split because of my lifestyle of being a gym rat and stuff. I have a higher percentage of protein and a higher percentage of fat. Fats make me crave less sugar, and as I would consider myself a recovering sugar addict, it's a good thing. Now that I have my macros, here's what I try to think about when I fill those with food. Don't get me wrong, I don't track every single bite of my food that I eat every day. It's only when I have a specific goal in mind. You learn how you should eat. You learn like this much is 160 grams of ground beef, this has 30 grams of fat, and this has 20 carbs in it. I'm set. So when you're feeling like, I really want a yogurt, you're like, no. In Sweden we have this word called candy Saturday. It's where you basically only eat refined sugars on Saturdays. This is something that I've grown up with, and this is something that I kind of sort of still believe in. As I said, I like to eat a little bit more fat than is the traditional split. The thing is that fat has a lot of flavor to it. And if you take away the fat, i.e. fat-free products, they usually have something else in them that makes it taste better. But I also keep in mind that not all fat is the kind of fat that you want. About the carbs that I eat, I try to make sure that they have a low glycemic index, as a high peak in your insulin will make you crave more sugar, which is not too good for me. I pick whole wheats where I can. I pick spaghetti squash instead of spaghetti, and I choose a fiber cereal instead of cornflakes. Don't get me wrong though, having a banana is 1,000 times better than having a Snickers bar. Eat your fruit, eat your vegetables, eat your berries. That's good for you. I also try to follow the natural is better thing. I honestly don't buy anything if it has more than 5 ingredients to it. We don't keep any junk food at the house. We don't have any candy or any chips or anything like that. And everything I cook from scratch. For the 5-2, I still implement intermittent fasting. If I have a day where I'm not really doing anything, I consider that as maybe a low carb day, or I just use that day as a fasting day. Majority of the times I push my first meal back a little bit so that I have an eating window of 6 to 8 hours instead. This is particularly useful if I'm reaching the end of my diet where you're just so hungry and all you want is to feel full for a little bit, then you can do that. I hope you got some clarity into how I view diets as tools instead of like, diets, you need to stick to it. The reason why they call this a lifestyle change. You can't just do one thing and then quit doing it, because where did that end up except for in square one? Just find what works for you. That's what that means. Take one part of each thing and make it work for you. And for you to be able to keep that new healthy weight, you have to make permanent changes. I know. Permanent changes. Sounds terrifying, pretty awful. I promise it's not the way that it is. It just brings newfound balance into your life. Consider dieting and eating right and being healthy and exercising and as a holistic perspective. Like, health is not just an ingredient on a list, and health is not a number on your scale. All right, that was it for today. I'm gonna go grocery shopping and show you how I implement all of these things. Make sure to follow me on Instagram if you aren't already. Leave me a comment, leave me a like, subscribe, hit the bell, all of that stuff. I'll talk to you guys soon.